And we're live. Look at that. What's up, Facebook? Scott from Scott and Jenna Investigate. How's everybody on this Tuesday night? There's Phil. Hang on, Phil.
Hey, what's up, Scott? How's it going, buddy?
How's it going, man?
Hey, hanging in there, man. Hanging in there. Ready to do this, man. Excited.
You ever used this software before?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I've never personally used it, but I've been on streams where I have used it, and it's worked great.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the second time I've used it, and it's so far so good. So
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
looking at the features of it, and this seemed like one of the better things to do. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things about it. The audio sounded great. I went back and watched the replays, and it looks great, sounds great. So, and you
Cool.
see, I don't have a webcam right now, so I'm just doing it off my phone. So,
Oh,
but
that's cool.
when I do get a webcam, I'm going to start doing StreamYard though, because I really like it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I'm getting everything posted so I can share it to the page. The pages. There we are.
All the upfront stuff.
There. I'm pretty much just going to I'm pretty much just linking it and telling everybody to come to your page to watch it.
That's cool. However you want to do it. If you have, whatever you need to tag, Hart, and all that good stuff, whatever.
Yeah, let's do it that way. I just put the link to your page up on both of my pages so they know exactly where to go to watch it. So,
like I said before, when I hit you up, I really don't have an agenda. This is just a stream of consciousness kind of thing. So it's like, I just get on here and just listen to myself talk. So I figured, why not? We've chatted before off to the side and stuff. So it's like, let's do this. Maybe we can provide some. If we can't provide anything of real value, we can surely entertain ourselves for a while and get some laughs. So we're good.
Absolutely.
But,
okay, absolutely.
Cool. Let's see. So everybody out there in Facebook land, what's going on? This is Scott with Scott and Jenna Investigate. It's Phil Gibson with Hart City Paranormal.
What's up, everybody?
So this is welcome to 2021. We did it. We got through 2020 and now on to maybe better things. We'll see how it goes, right?
Yes.
So far so good. So far so good, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So So this is the first live one we've done this year. So kind of wanted to do something a little bit different, actually try to get some guests on here so people don't have to listen to me just ramble, because I go off on tangents and that's not what they're paying for, right? They're paying for the talent. So I'm just here to be the humble narrator.
And I'm just here because they feel sorry for me.
Is that what it is? Well, they need to feel sorry for me too.
At least that's what
how it works.
That's what I told Marianne, at least. So
yeah. No, man. It's all good. But I mean, you just did something else too. Not what was it? Sunday night you did a podcast, so you're like becoming quite the celebrity.
Yeah, I did. It was kind of a last second thing, man. Last second gig. John Sparks from Sparks of the Paranormal podcast. He did his first actual live, because he was doing just audio only, just podcasts, and then he would upload it to his page, and so it wouldn't be live. But this was his first actual live off of YouTube podcast on Sparks of the Paranormal. We did it on Sunday or Monday night. Sunday night.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So we got this one tonight, and I got another one coming up on the 21st, I believe, or 22nd. Yeah, the 22nd on a Friday night with what do they call? It's a brand new stream that that Sarah Miller has going on called the Gilded. I forgot the name. I apologize if you're listening.
So you're gonna have to get an agent pretty soon. Have a PR thing. You're getting to that point, right? You can't keep it all together. Let somebody else deal with it for you.
I got my handy dandy notebook.
Right on, man. Right on. So for those of you that are just joining us and are like, what the heck's going on here? I'm Scott with Scott and Jenna Investigate. We're based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. We investigate ghosts, paranormal, whatever. I'm kind of more on the skeptic side, where Jenna, my partner, she's more on the spiritual side. and she does a lot of eye rolling. When we do stuff, she can't stand when I'm around when she does EVPs because I tend to walk into the room right when she's in the middle of she gets really focused on the EVP stuff. And then sure enough, I come bam, bam, bam through the room like, hey, what's going on? And it's just like, damn it, you ruined it for me. So yeah, so we have fun with that. But yeah, it is what it is. And then
Yeah.
again, this is Phil Gibson from Hart City Paranormal. So why don't you give your little elevator speech about what you guys do and what's going on your side of the world?
Sure. My name is Phil Gibson. I'm with Hart City Paranormal out of Elkhart, Indiana. We've been a team for about 3.5 years now. We created our team in 2017. It's myself, Sean Landers, his wife Samantha, and Lisa, and Lisa Dawson. We're a four-person team. We've had an interest. We've all had an interest in the paranormal, and it looks like Marianne's on. Hey, Marianne. So we've all had an interest in the paranormal for a long time. I know Sean has had a lot of experiences in his, before we actually created this team. I haven't had a whole lot of experiences in my life prior to getting together as a team. I did live in a haunted house, what I believe was a haunted house, in the mid 2000s, which was probably my very first paranormal experience. At least I think it was paranormal. But we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I kind of got my first interest in the paranormal when I was young, when I was quite young, growing up in West Virginia, watching the movie Poltergeist. I'm sure many of you have seen the movie Poltergeist.
Oh yeah,
the original.
I'm giving my age away, but I actually saw it in the theater. My mom took me to see
That's
it
awesome.
with my aunt and my cousins, and yeah, that movie that freaked the shit out of me.
It was awesome, man. I still love it. I'm still a big fan of it. That kind of got me interested in the paranormal, not necessarily about investigating, but it kind of gave me an interest in what might lie on the other side or whatever. And so that interest in the paranormal kind of was embedded in me. And then about the mid 2000s, early to mid 2000s, probably mid 2000s, started watching the Ghost Hunters, the original Ghost Hunters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that kind of piqued my interest of wanting to do, maybe this is something I might want to do, eventually down the road, is investigate the paranormal. But then the one episode that really put me over the edge to make me really want to investigate the paranormal was season 2 of the St. Augustine Lighthouse. And when the Ghost Hunters went there, and from the time I saw the apparition peer over the staircase and look down, and then 10 seconds later, up 5 flights of stairs, I was like, no, I definitely want to do this. And it's something I want to do, and it was just really, really cool. And that kind of began that interest in wanting to investigate paranormal, as well as Ghost Adventures did it to me too. Watching Ghost Adventures really, put me in that mindset to really want to do this. And I, it's people want a dog, Zach Bagans and stuff, but he was just as big of an influence on people like me than Ghost Hunters were.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't want to admit that, but yeah, the Ghost Adventures crew, Nick and Zach, were an influence on me as well. So it made me want to go out and do what I'm doing today. And it took a few years to get the ball rolling and jump in and start doing the investigations, but I'm here, and we've been doing it for 3.5 years, man. And it's definitely the best, probably the most interesting adventure I've ever been on.
It's a great conversation piece, isn't it? When you're talking
absolutely.
to the non-ghost people, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say? You're going to hunt ghosts, or you're an urban explorer? What is that? And it's like, well, the unglamorous explanation is we sit in the dark a lot in old buildings, and when it's really cold, and talk to ourselves and try to record things, and I said, or we go after demons and spirits and chase them down like Ghostbusters if you want to be funny, or the if you want to go on the extreme crazy dramatic side, you're more like the movie The Conjuring or Exorcist or something like that. But
Absolutely.
so
Yes.
you said you had an experience in your old house. Do you want to talk about that? Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Absolutely. I moved in a house in 2000, probably mid 2006, 2007, and upon moving in the house, I did have the knowledge that someone did pass away in the house. It was nothing tragic, nothing foul play or anything. She passed of old age, and the groundskeeper that used to help mow that used to mow the grass for her and do the work. He told me this story. She passed away of old age, and so I was well aware that somebody did pass away in the house. It wasn't until after I moved in that I realized it, but okay, whatever. And she passed away in the bedroom that ended up being my bedroom. So, and it all started. I was watching Ghost Hunters on TV one night, and like I said, this is the part where this is, yeah,
That
yeah,
wasn't priming the pump or anything like that. There
yeah.
wasn't any suggestion whatsoever.
I mean, but this part of it, I can't really say was paranormal because it could have been faulty wiring or something out of the out of the ordinary. But it was a brand new ceiling fan, which was powered by turning on and off with remotes and strings,
Mm.
drawstrings, and so we were watching Ghost Hunters one night and had the lights off, creating the spook factor.
Mm.
And next thing you know, the lights come on. And I turn around and look, and I'm going, okay, that's strange. And so I went in there and turned the light off with the remote, put it back on the computer cabinet, went back to watching Ghost Hunters. A couple minutes later, light comes on again. Okay, that's strange. So I'll go back, turn the light off again, and it didn't do it for the rest of the night. Okay, fine. It did it again about a week later, and we weren't watching Ghost Hunters, but it did about a week later, and so it kind of started piquing my interest. I'm like, okay, why is this doing this for? And I thought to myself, okay, it is a remote, it is a remote operated light. So
Mm.
I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And I was already doing into my debunking mode. So I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the remote and we'll set it sideways up and down like this. So the cat, because I had a cat, so the cat like crawling around on everything. And okay, maybe he stepped on the, the button, or whatever. So I put it up on top of my computer cabinet, put it in between my tower and my speaker, and turned the lights off. And went to Walmart, came back, and at the time I had to pull my car to my garage because my garage door button was broke. So I had to park the car in the garage, walk around the house, and walk up in the front door to let my to operate the garage door so I could pull my car in. So as I parked my car, got out of my car, walked down the sidewalk, and lo and behold, the light was on.
Wow.
Okay, so I went in and opened the door, everything, and after that, the light didn't come on again after that. It didn't play any tricks on me or anything. So I kind of blew it. I was doing renovations in the house too, which for those who get to the point that where people start fixing houses up, paranormal activity begins. Starts happening. So if you believe that, this could be the reason why.
Mm.
So as and the second time, the second incident, this is more convincing to me because I was up once again watching TV late night. And I think it was Ghost Hunters. I was home by myself. It was just me. I had a dog, and I had a cat. The cat. So I was finished watching TV, and I turned the TV off. And I walk in the hall. I got my computer cabinet that sits right there, and my screensaver. The light was always on because I didn't have a screensaver I didn't have the screensaver activated then, so it just pretty much just stayed lit the whole time. And I always left my door cracked open just so the cat could get, in and out, to use the litter box. And he liked sleeping in my bed. So, and I kept my dog in the kennel at the time. So I just went to bed and I was laying there, and so my feet was at the door, so I had a clear view of the door that was cracked open, just enough for the cat to get in. So I saw the light from the computer shining on the wall where the door was opened at. And I'm just sitting there, just sitting there. Wasn't even 5 minutes. I was laying in bed. I'm just sitting there, just looking down there, just trying to go to sleep. And my eyes are wide open. I'm just laying there. And next thing I know, I seen the light completely blocked, like something walked across and pretty much blocked the light from the computer. And so you can see the shadow cast on the wall. I'm like,
okay.
Whoa. I'm like, whoa, what the heck was that? And I looked over to make sure it wasn't my cat, because my cat, it was about 4 foot. It was, the screen of the computer would have been about 4 foot tall. So about 4 feet off the ground if it's sitting inside my cabinet. So I was like, okay, maybe the cat walked across the computer, the keyboard or something like that, and cast a shadow. But I looked down the edge of my bed, and my cat was laying on the end of the bed. I'm going, okay. So my curiosity started peaking. I said, do it again. That's what I thought. I said, do it again. And sure enough, it went across again and blocked the light out again. And that was the only time I ever seen it happen. And I've heard bangs, like really loud bangs, and on interior walls, not outside. I'm literally saying inside, like closets, like wow. And it woke me and my girlfriend up at the time. And I was asleep, and she was wide awake, and she heard that bang, and she shook me. She said, "Oh my God, something just banged on the wall." And I can't say it wasn't a pipe or something like that, but it never happened. It only happened once, but it was loud enough bang. It woke me up. It literally jarred me. Like what the hell was that? And but it was like in the closet. It was like wham. And all this happened in the bedroom where she passed away at. So I'm not saying it was her. I'm not saying it was even paranormal, but the shadow, when it blocked the computer, when it blocked the light and cast that shadow, that was pretty crazy. Because
Have you ever had?
I could explain it. I could explain it because I didn't have a screensaver on my computer at the time, so I knew it wasn't. And like I said, it didn't go off, and it doesn't, and it stayed off. I literally covered it up with, and it was lit again. So it was really strange.
So have you had any of that same kind of behavior happen at? You said that was your former residence, like at your new home, where this stuff has followed you, anything like that?
I have experienced absolutely zero,
Okay.
nothing here where I live at.
Because I think
No,
sometimes people bring it with them. Like, I'm not sure if it's supernatural, or it could be
yeah,
like they're manifesting it themselves, kind of thing, or somewhere in between. Because it's like I know some people that's like it seems like it follows them, and it's
yeah,
like and again, like I said, I don't know how much of that is they're just their choices of where they live. Maybe there's a lot of history there and stuff like that,
yeah,
or they're just their energy is in tune in such a way to where it's like a magnet, or it's something
very
maybe even
possible.
internal. If you subscribe to like telekinesis and things like that, where they're actually generating it themselves versus it being an outside force type of thing. But yeah,
Exactly. Now
yeah,
I have messed around here at home and did but one was unintentional. I was actually testing a camera out before an investigation. I bought a new camera and I was testing it out, getting a good feel of the settings and stuff like that for night vision and all that stuff like that. And I when I plugged my when I put my memory card into my computer to watch it on the screen, I caught an EVP, which I can't remember what it said. It says something about out in the yard or something like that. And that's all I remember. That's all I really understood was like out in the yard.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, that's kind of strange. I didn't hear it with my own ears, and um, so that was probably the only thing. And then I've worked with spirit box, and you probably saw that over the holidays when I was working
Oh
on
yeah.
the spirit
No,
boxes, and it was
no.
pretty intense,
It's pretty
intelligent
clear.
responses.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was a pretty clear one. I mean, I know that there was some discussions back and forth as far as, well, it was that time of year. It's possible that
yeah.
that what was said that would make sense. But it was still, I mean, the fact that it did sound like a little kid, it sounded like a older person before that. So, I mean,
Well,
yeah.
it was myself and Scott Carter. Scott was like, maybe you should try it, in the middle of August, and see if it still says it. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same type of experiment, but instead of a holiday oriented or holiday related T-shirt, I'm gonna go ahead and throw something else, another T-shirt on
Mhm.
of somebody that's pretty well known. It would end up being Albert Einstein.
Right.
I had an Einstein shirt, and I went ahead and did that. And before the stream, I said I'm not going to say his name. I'm just going to show you the shirt. And I pulled the shirt up like this, and I said, "This is who it is." I don't want to say the name because I don't want the spirits just to simply repeat the
Right.
name. I want them to be able to see and tell me who it is. So I wore the Albert Einstein shirt, and I did get throughout the into the session, I ended up getting the name Albert when I asked who
Hmm.
was on the front of my shirt. So that was very, very interesting. And then I did one on Christmas Eve as well, pretty much the same thing as I did before, and it had the Santa Claus shirt again, and it said Santa. Another kid said Santa, sound like the same person, sound like the same exact kid, and it said Santa twice when I asked up on command who was on the front of my shirt. It said Santa. That's okay. Okay, that's pretty impressive. I said, okay, you know what? I'm watching TV right now. Can you tell me what's on my TV right now? And I pointed at the TV, and I was watching Frosty the Snowman, and it said Frosty, and I was just blown away, man. Yeah, and I didn't put that on. I didn't put that on Facebook or anything like that. But I was just. I still have the recording actually, but I thought that was kind of cool. But there's no possible way that anybody would know what I was watching on TV because I mean, there's no possible. I mean, the odds of it are so slim for them to directly tell me what I was. And I took a picture of the screen and everything to let people know what I was doing and what I was watching. But the odds of it being able to do that there could have been anything on TV and
Yeah.
just to hear it say Frosty, it was just like. I've
It's hard not to get a little bit excited over that stuff as much as you want to still be grounded and you still want to be skeptical and be like, okay, there's a logical explanation for this. Yeah, it's pretty cool though because
the
that doesn't happen a lot, at least not in my
no
experience.
no we've had some very good results with the spirit box with the SB11 spirit boxes. I bought it as a skeptic too because I know it is a broken radio.
Yeah,
It is a broken radio, and there's a chance you get. But I realized with the SB11s that I don't get radio snippets. I don't get music. I've never heard music played on that. It's just static and then voices. I've never heard music. I mean, I would never be able to tell. Oh, that's Katy Perry. Coming across my spirit box or something like that. I've never heard like music. I've never heard singing, like radio snippets across the SB11 spirit boxes. So to me, knowing how it works and knowing what my experiences with the spirit box with that particular box, that's why it seems so impressive to me when I heard those Santas because people say, okay, well maybe you just came across a station and at that very perfect time you heard somebody say Santa at the time you answered that question. It just so happens that it caught that Santa.
well, it's like
But
even like the EVP you
but
had was really clear because a lot of times you'll get these EVPs that's like maybe it says that, maybe it doesn't, and it's, once somebody's put oh look, this said this, you kind of already have planted the seed in your mind to kind of shape your thoughts around it. But in the
yeah,
case of yours, man, it was pretty much like it sounded spot on. A kid saying Santa, it would sound like a
exactly.
little kid doing it, and it was like, okay, that's
And,
pretty wild.
and like you said, the man before that said, tell them. or
Yeah.
say it or something or tell them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Santa. What is the odds of? I mean, because that fits together like perfectly. Tell them Santa. It's like this guy is sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, go ahead and tell him." You
Yeah.
know, now who these people
Yes.
are, I don't know, but I was getting the word Nick quite a bit. But I was also asking, "Hey, Santa has a nickname. Can you tell me what his other name is?" Nick, Saint Nick.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
cool.
mean, to me, the coincidences, it just seems too. I don't know. Like you said, we need to stay grounded, but at the same time, you just gotta just know what is the odds and the chances of that happening. And I mean, you got to take that in consideration as well because
Well, and the thing too is it's like what I like about the way you approach it, and I think you're kind of like I am. It's like I don't ever put something out there and go like, this is absolutely this, and this is conclusive, and this is exactly what you're. My stuff is more like, hey, you know what? This is how I see it. I'm not saying it's necessarily supernatural, but this is how
Mhm.
it played out for me. Now, maybe somebody smarter than me can look at this and debunk this and go, "Oh, well, you realize that under these circumstances, this, and this," and I'll go, "Yeah, that's valid." Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I rarely. I mean, there's times where I definitely get excited. I mean, the when we were at the Fairfield County Infirmary a few weeks ago, and I had the whole flashy ball incident where it actually moved. That was wild to see happen, especially
Yeah.
when you go back over there and you start jumping up and down around it. And I've got a
Yeah.
perimeter set up, and it's like, okay, now I'm intrigued here. It's like how did that happen? How does is there environment? I'm still not convinced it's not something maybe environmental, but on the same token, there's been a lot of people that have gotten some interesting stuff there. And like last night,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
started going through our CCTV. So we had 4 wireless cameras set up. So right away, wireless cameras have their own stuff. I mean, there can be compression and things like that. So we
Okay.
had one up. Have you ever been to Fairfield Infirmary? You haven't, have you?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. So for everybody watching, Fairfield County Infirmary is up in Lancaster, Ohio. It's just east of Columbus.
Mhm.
It's owned by Adam Kimmel. He also runs, I think, the Madison Seminary. And
Mhm.
so we went up there twice in December. And the second time we went, we kind of had free reign in the place. So we got 4 wireless cameras. I put one up in what they call the dungeon, which is the fourth floor attic.
Mhm.
Um, we had one in the baby doll room, and just let it run all night. And
Mhm.
I'm horrible about going back and watching that stuff. Jenna likes to do that,
I
which is
hate
funny
watching
because
video.
she's more the spiritualist in that, but she's definitely got the eye for like she'll sit there and watch those tapes all day long. Where it's me, it's like, I,
Because the
yeah,
problem the problem with that is if you like fall asleep, then you got to figure out, okay, where did I fall asleep
yeah,
at? I need
yeah,
to go back and you know make sure I didn't miss anything.
right. So I had it all loaded up, and we were watching it on. We were streaming it to our bedroom TV, and we were just watching the big screen. And it's funny, like I'm over here on Facebook and whatever, and every time I look away, she's like, "See, did you see that?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me, really?" And so she had one snippet. So I mean, again, you see like the orbs and the dust, and there's clearly there's some artifacts because we're talking it's 1080p resolution over a Wi-Fi signal. The signal up in the doll room wasn't bad. If I remember correctly, the doll room was on the same floor as where the receiver was, where our main unit was. So we weren't that far back from it. But
Okay.
again, I mean, anytime something's there can be interference in that. But yeah, there was this one snippet. You kind of seeing these things, and it looked like some people said it looked like footprints, but and I could show you the video, but it's on our page. Um, and I need to get the actual source out there because literally all she did was took her phone and put it up to the TV and held it up there because she was so excited about it, and I wanted to post it. But
Yeah, I saw the video. I need to watch it.
yeah,
I
it's
saw it on the
it's
page. I just
like
haven't watched it
it's
yet.
like literally by the fireplace. You see this. It doesn't really behave like an orb or a dust orb. It's like this shadowy thing, and it kind of starts to grow, and then it becomes a couple, and it almost looks like it's walking, and then it just kind of
Interesting.
goes up, and then it kind of does this thing, and it's like, okay, that's interesting because that doesn't behave like the other artifacts we've seen in this video. So
Hmm.
I posted it on some of the sites, and it was like people were like, "Oh wow, that's a cool catch." So it's like, yeah, I don't know what we caught. It was something that at least you look at that and you go, okay, that's cool. I mean, that
And
room's
that's
supposed
what
to have
you,
some
that's
activity.
what you're saying. You're not saying it's paranormal. You like put it out there and say, okay, here, this is what I'm putting it out there. What do you guys think? Peer
Yeah, I mean,
review.
I had some
Yeah.
people, I had some people that I think were more on the psychic medium side of the house were like, I'm sensing that this individual looks like this and that. I mean, they had a whole backstory off and I'm just like, okay, I mean, and I know there's people out there, that's how they perceive things and do stuff. I'm
Hmm.
like, wow, that's a lot of detail for just a little 11-minute clip or 11-second clip, but okay. Maybe they're picking up something I don't, because I clearly didn't see that. I saw some shadowy things that didn't look natural to me.
Hey,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's so that was cool. We look forward to going back there. It's like I want to go back there with multiple cameras, because what I told Jenna, I said what I want to do is put another camera side, like in the same area, but not, and basically have it battery powered, so it's not over Wi-Fi or anything like that.
Hmm.
So that way we can rule out any kind of Wi-Fi interference and some things like that, and play a couple other things, which kind of get the multiple angles and things like that. Because then if you really get something there, then that's like that. It makes it even more interesting.
No, you
Because
said it's a it's a DVR camera.
yeah. So I just had a DVR camera with the little home security type lights, and I've rigged them up on GoPro mounts. So I put them on tripods,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I just
yeah.
plug them in, and so they're not battery powered. They're powered by electricity, so I don't have the battery fluctuations in that.
But
But they
like I
still
said,
power over Wi-Fi.
yeah, if you're interested in doing like a having that alternate camera with the battery power, I know Walmart sell these little flat like battery packs. Man, I bought these 25,000 AU batteries, and I used to run my camcorders up before I went to the night vision 4K trail cams. But we used to use 1080p camcorders, and we used to plug these little battery packs up into the camera, and it would stay. I mean, I would be we'd be 7, 6, 7, 8 hours in an investigation. We'd still have 30 some percent battery life. So they will
Oh
run
wow,
all night long.
that's
So they're
cool.
like, I think they're like $10 or something. You can buy them at Walmart in like the cashier when you're waiting, in the checkout lines, these
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
splice off to the right side.
Cool.
They have those flat battery packs, and they work really well if if you put a camcorder up or something like that.
Yeah.
But I still use I got a 4K camcorder I use to, when I'm doing like experiments with the uh, with the EDI pluses, or with the haunted trigger object sensor. I want to, so I can document what's going on. I'll
Yeah.
plug the battery pack up in my camcorder, and so I can get that documentation. But they work really good, so that'd be something to think about if you
Yeah,
plan on
yeah,
doing it. Yeah.
we'll definitely try that. I know. See, I'm more the video guy. Jenna really likes her. You were talking about the SB11. She
Hmm.
likes. We had an SB7 that we started out with, which I think everybody does at one point or another.
I never
And
had one.
oh, okay, well, okay, you
I went,
jumped right
I went,
ahead.
I went
And
straight to the
I modded
jugular.
it. I pulled the antenna off of it and stuff like that, and then just it was okay. I mean, and then I even made my own portal box out of it. Being a musician, I had
Yeah.
like already had the noise gate pedals and the echo pedals and that, so I had this whole rig set up, and it was kind of like it worked okay, and then just didn't really. I don't know. It just really didn't do much for us, and
Yeah.
then we started using the ink box from that Katie Stafford does for
Oh yeah.
Supernatural Ink.
Oh
That's
yeah.
not only are they look cool, I mean, because it's like you're carrying a boombox, and it
Yeah.
actually has. I mean, you can actually, if I'm not mistaken, you can record the cassette and you can record the USB. It's got a USB spot, so
Yep.
whatever you're picking up, you can record to it on the box itself. So you've
Hmm.
got a way of keeping it going. But yeah, we got one of those a while back, and that's Jenna's favorite thing. Man, that thing it comes up with all kinds of stuff. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, because when we investigated Middle Point School, and Katie, and we were investigated with Katie
Okay, yeah,
when he came down and investigated with us. He brought his he brought his ink box upstairs, and he was recording on the cassettes and everything. He was going through all the different settings and telling me, all this is what it does, and we put a tape in there. He was recording and everything. I was like, man, that is awesome, man.
yeah,
I mean, you can
dude.
sit and do
He
all.
will. You send him down a tangent talking about the tech, and he'll just you guys could talk forever. And he was doing some laser light stuff and everything else where he was.
Oh man, they had this contraption set up in the what was it, the auditorium, I think it's called, or the
Yeah, probably.
yeah, him and Austin, and and all the guys down there, and they had these laser lights up there going crazy, and they had it all shooting out through there, and they had this set up, and it was a pretty cool little setup. They had it all. We were about ready to leave, and so they had all the lights on. It was all flowing everywhere, and we were heading back to Elkhart by then. But yeah, KD man, he brought he brought his ink box. He brought all of his stuff with him, and he was going through a bunch of his different equipment. And then me and Katie were downstairs in the basement, and we were investigating in the basement. And she had this. I don't know what it was. It looked like a little. I don't know. It was a small little contraption, but it was like a spirit box. It was pretty handheld. It had a little antenna that sticks up, and I
Two
can't remember the
antennas,
name.
like a little side antenna, almost
Yeah,
like an.
yeah,
I think that
yeah.
was their first version of the Nanocom.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Yep.
and we
Yep.
got some pretty good. We got some pretty
Yeah,
relative responses off that as well. It was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah,
we did. I guess. Well, actually, last year Valentine's Day, we were up the Rhodes Hotel in Atlanta, Indiana,
yeah. We're
and
gonna go.
KD
We
and
go.
KD were there, and he was like, "Check this out, man. We're gonna do something really cool tonight." And he did this thing where he did like a laser. So he shows up with these Orange brand amplifiers. So right away, I'm like, "Oh, Orange amps, cool. You're talking my language." He's like, "Check this out. This is what we're gonna do." And he's got like a laser that he fires through a prism. The prism splits, then it goes into this thing where it converts it into audio, and then he's got it going into this amp. So the idea was that, and I'm probably he'd be able to explain it much better, but the premise of it was that he was pulling. The idea was the spirits could come through the video because he had like a little TV and stuff, and he was shining this laser against it and getting like an extra like the off of that. It was then going through a laser, and he was converting the laser was split through a prism, and it was being converted to sound. It was like all this stuff going.
The
Man,
mad,
the
the
mad
mad
scientist, right?
scientist. Yeah,
It was pretty cool though, because he was like, and he had to have it perfectly lined up for these for the laser to hit these little like I mean, they were basically like microphones, and he hit the laser on there, and these things would start making this crazy noise and shit from where it was like interpreting the video.
yeah. Austin, I think Austin. They were doing that at the Middle Point School that night
Okay,
too.
yeah,
I was coming in to make sure I was coming in. I was coming back in with Austin, and he said, "Come here for a second. I want to show you something. I want to show you this real quick." And he pulled me on
yeah.
stage. And he was showing me that, and it was like, yeah, it had something to do with that. But I think what you were talking about,
It's like one of
and
those the Ruberg machines, where it's got all the crazy devices to do something simple. That's like
yeah.
he had all these elaborate things, and it's like, yeah, I'm basically converting a laser to audio back to this, and it's like, that's pretty
Austin
badass.
was sitting there going. He looked like a damn DJ over here, dude. Like twisted knobs and shit, dude. Just
Like
it was pretty wild. It was cool.
Frankenstein's castle, it's alive, and they're pulling switches and shit.
Yeah, then Eric was back here recording on he had the camera, and Austin was cranking these knobs and switching this off. He looked like a DJ back there. It was pretty
funny.
wild, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. But anyways, yeah. So we use that a lot. That's probably our go-to is the ink box.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got pretty cool responses up in the classroom upstairs on the upstairs to the left. The second classroom to the left. We walk up the stairs from the front part of the stairs when you walk down the main hallway. When you come in the building and you walk down the hallway and you go up the stairs there, and then you walk up the top of the stairs and there's two classrooms on the left. We got so much activity in that second classroom, man. We got kids' voices, and man, we were getting REM pod hits, and we were getting the tri-fields were just pegging.
Did you guys do any of the like whistling, call and response stuff with whistles and things like that?
Did we hear? Did you ask if I heard anything like that there?
Yeah, did you try those experiments? Because I know there for a while, there was a deal where they were getting a lot of like through the ghost box and that it was like whistles and things like that. So Joel Myers, he's with Ghost Sight. He builds a lot of the cameras. He showed up with a harmonica, and they were up there. Him and his buddy he brought. They were up there doing these like harmonica solos, and this thing starts like, and it wasn't like it was picking up music because I mean, where are you going to find harmonica solos on a I mean, maybe up in Middle Point, that area, maybe that's predominant, but yeah, but it was like it was going through this, and he'd play on the harmonica, and this thing, it was almost like it was playing back to him. It was almost like listening to Deliverance or something. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, like
the juice harp and that doing all this.
yeah. But we were getting EVPs. I mean, you can ask Austin. I mean, I put it on our page, and some of these, I'm talking about literally pegging hits, boom, boom, the tri-field just going nuts, and then catching EVPs of like little kids, and saying help me, or hello or help. I mean, and it was as clear as day. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And Austin's like, holy cow, man, those are clear. I'm like, yeah. He said, and I told you. He said, I told you it's active. And then we were doing a daytime investigation, and he says, man, at nighttime it's crazy. I'm like, man, I can't imagine if it's this busy, if it's this crazy during the day. I can't imagine what it is like, what's it like at night. But I was thinking at the daytime, it's a school.
Yeah.
So that's why I set out to do a daytime investigation there, because it was active. It was a school. So, we try to catch the energy of maybe the kids or something like that, that, might have been still there, or whoever, being that it was a school and it was active during the day. So we went ahead and, booked the investigation for the day, and man, it was cool. I'd like to get back down there and check it out again.
Yeah, it's a cool place. It's a cool place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's so where you guys headed next? I can't remember the specific spot. I know you got something coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, we're next week from this coming Saturday. We'll be in Bristol, Indiana, about 5 miles up the road.
Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah,
I wish I had places that close.
Yeah, we try to, like, in January and February, we try to stay closer to home because of what, you never know what the weather's going to be like. So in Indiana and Michigan, Ohio, so we kind of try to stay a little closer to home, so in case we do encounter some pretty inclement weather, it won't be as it's not like driving to like the Monroe House or something like that. But we try to keep it close to home. It's the Bristol Opera House in Bristol, Indiana. It's called the Elkhart Civic Theater, but it's formerly known as the Bristol Opera House. That's where we're going a week from Saturday. So
now, is it still being used for anything, or is it just okay?
It's still being used, and it's very hard to get in there because they're really, really busy with plays, and really the only time we've been able to get in there, this will be our third time there. The only times that we've been able to get in there recently has been like in January, because starting in like the end of January into February, they start doing a lot of the auditions, and a lot of the stage props. They're putting all those up and building those and stuff like that. And so we try to get them early in the year so we can get in there. But the stage has been the stage right and stage left has been so active for us there, man. One of our greatest EVPs was captured on the right side of that stage. A little kid giggling, or like, it sounded like a baby, actually. It sounded like a baby like giggling. And we had four audio devices going. We had 3 recorders and a camcorder. The audio from a camcorder. We had Samantha and Terry that was sitting in chairs about 6 to 7 feet, maybe 10 feet from the a table we had set up with a REM pod, a stationary recorder, and just a ordinary stuffed Care Bear, just full of stuffing. And then we had that stationary recorder sitting on the table. Then we had the camera's audio going too. You heard Terry and Sam sitting there talking about well, hey, do you mind if Sam walks down there and sits next to you? And there was 2 chairs sitting there, so you heard Sam walking across the stage and sitting down. And about 7-8 seconds later, you hear this little kid go, and I was listening to the audio and going, holy crap! I said, holy cow, man, that's clear. What is that? So immediately I called Sean and said, Sean, bring that damn Care Bear over here. I'm going to look at it. Because I thought maybe it had some kind of battery, voices, or some kind of maybe voice box in it or something like that, or squeak or something like that. And Sean brought it over, and I'm grabbing it and squeezing it and shaking it, and it was all stuffing. That's all it was. And interesting enough, the only audio it was captured on was that stationary recorder that was sitting beside of it. There was, and I listened to Sam's audio, I listened to Terry's audio, and I listened to the camera's audio. Zilch, nothing at that point, nothing. Only one that was captured on was that stationary recording device that was sitting right next to the Care Bear. And I was just like, oh my God. And I let Sean hear. He's like, oh my gosh, dude, that is crazy. It sounded just like a baby, like giggling. And I was just like, oh my God. And I let Sean hear. He's like, oh my gosh, dude, that is crazy. It sounded just like a baby, like giggling. And I was just like, oh my gosh, dude, that is crazy. It sounded just like a baby, like giggling. like a
Yeah.
baby,
Huh.
not even a toddler, not even a young, not even like a little kid. It sounded like a baby, like a like a little infant that was giggling, which was just
That's just
it blew my
the,
mind.
the, the baby stuff always creeps me out the most, but
Yeah.
that's my what got me into this, or what interested me, was I had an experience when I was a kid. I won't get into it too much here. Um, I've said this story before, and I don't want to take up too much time. But I actually, when as I was at home by myself, my parents were next door, um, and I lived out in the country.
Hmm.
I was on the second floor. My room was at the back corner of the house. I was in my room. I used to draw a lot, stuff like that. And
Hmm.
I saw this. It looked like a solid figure, the solid baby. It was as real as you and I. Um,
Wow.
Crawl across through the hallway. I felt like I was drawing, and I down the hallway. I happened something made me want to look. And I looked, and I seen this thing crawling down the hallway, and
Oh
even
wow.
to this day, it gives me chills. But it looked up at me, and it was just a normal looking baby. It didn't like have horns, wasn't zombie or anything like that. But you just knew something wasn't right, and it just kind of gave me this look, and then crawled under my bed, and I saw
Whoa.
the sheets move. Now, I will tell you that I was probably 10, 11 years old. So, overactive imagination, I don't know. But I can tell you that I was barefooted. We lived on a gravel road. It scared the shit out of me so much. I dropped what I was doing, ran down the steps, ran down the gravel road, which was probably the equivalent of 4 or 5 blocks to where my parents were. And of course, I'm like,
Wow.
this crazy baby came in, blah, 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 and they're just like drinking their wine with their, here they're trying to get some peace and quiet for the evening, and they're just looking at me like, Jesus, Scott, really? What did you get into now, or whatever? But
That is
yeah,
crazy though.
yeah, and that has stayed with me. And again, if, for somebody like me who's on the skeptical side, it's funny
Hmm.
that I got a story that's like yours is like electricity changing and things like that. Mine's like, no man, I got this freaking baby coming at me and shit, and so yeah, that's what always interested me. And then I mean, my mom was always very spiritual and stuff, but like early on, she had some experiences with Ouija boards to the point where she was like, she swore she lived in a haunted house, and it was a very old farmhouse, and then eventually burned down. But her and her sisters played around with the Ouija board, and she wouldn't, even to this day, won't tell me what actually went down with that, except for the fact that they ended up destroying the board and burning it. And she's like, there was like three
A big
things that I
a
there
big
was
no
like,
no.
right, yeah. I'm like, um,
Burning
but there's
boards.
like
Yeah.
three things growing up that Scott was like, my mom would whip my ass for, and it was like, um, you don't drink and drive, don't get your ears pierced, which I did, and then don't play with Ouija boards. It was like, so I mean, the one I respected,
Of
although
all the things. Yeah.
arguably a spirit box is kind of, but maybe it's a technicality. But anyways, I respect your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I whether I don't know how much I believe in them and stuff like that, but it's like, it makes her happy. So, but yeah,
I mean,
that was my little story, and it was like, damn, and so even to this day, because my mom, when I told her that story, she's like, well, maybe you're like projecting the future. Maybe that's what your kid's gonna look like, and my son did kind of look like that, but trust me, he did not look like that.
he resembled him, but not
Yeah,
exactly.
but yeah, it was, who knows, man. I mean, it was very vivid, and again, you know, overactive imagination. But I could tell you that's the only time in my life that my imagination's been that overactive. So, and that was before the days of alcohol and everything else. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
It's a natural high, man.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything. The only like I said, besides that thing that walked past the door or whatever, in my old house, that's the only thing I've ever. Um, I thought I saw a mist before, but it was outside, so environment stuff. But as far
sure.
as apparitions and shadow figures, and I've yet to see a shadow figure or an apparition. Um, Still waiting for that day.
Yeah,
And as my dear friend Marianne and Evelyn told me, uh, as we were sitting at a meetup, and I told her, I said, you know what, I've been doing this for 2 years. It's been about a year and a half now, I think at the time. I said, I have yet to see an apparition. She put her hand on my leg. She said, oh, it'll happen. You keep investigating. You're going to see it, and it's going to happen when you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
But Sean, he's seen a couple things. My teammate Sean, we were at the Griffin Blind Tiger, and we had no like backstory of what was going on down in the basement. And Sean came down the stairs, and I was getting my trail camera set up, and so my back was facing Sean, and he was standing over by the door. And he said he saw a little girl with blonde hair and a white dress hop off the second step and run into the wall.
Hmm.
Okay. She said, man, I just saw a little girl run into the wall. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, it was really quick. So when Brandy Reeder came over and we were talking to her about it, and she was like, yes, I have had numerous experiences with a little girl in the basement. We've caught EVPs of little girls. We've caught names of a little girl, and since she had a white dress on, she said, yeah, she had a white dress on, and she had a white dress on. And these were some of the descriptions of what some psychics and some mediums have seen down there before Sean had no idea about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's had quite a few experiences. I think he's gifted. I think he has a gift. I don't. I haven't had anything like it happen to me. So
Jenna says that I'm a magnet for like the child spirits. Like when we go places that
same
like
here.
I don't necessarily see them, and I told her, I said maybe it's because of the beard. I look like Santa Claus or something. But she's like, when we were at the Waverly, she's like, yeah, she sees a lot more of that stuff and feels a lot more. And she's because there's only been a couple times I felt like I was ever touched. One was at Waverly, and one was we did a private investigation at a farmhouse where I felt like something grabbed the back of my hair. I was in one of the side rooms, which was weird because yeah. But she's like, yeah, you tend to draw out the little kids. There's something about you've got like this happy soul, and you're kind of jovial, and you're not menacing. You're more welcoming kind of person. You're jolly, and so sometimes she uses that to her advantage. Like sometimes I'm bait. It seems like, but I don't. I I go into I kind of when I go into investigations when we hit up places, I kind of treat it as I'm going into somebody's house. And
That's
it's
what she
I
did.
kind of feel like I'm going into somebody's house and I'm kind of not invited, like I just walked in, so I have to do what I can to be like, okay, maybe this isn't the most ideal situation for you, but I'm here. I'm I'm not threatening. I'm just kind of looking around. I promise I won't touch stuff. I kind of, just because I'm like, just think about it. If you think these spirits have some kind of consciousness or whatever, you're stepping on what they think is their spot. They don't have an idea that they're you guys exist in the same space kind of thing. So yeah, we were at the Old Stone Jail in Franklin, Kentucky,
Oh
and there's
yeah,
one
yeah.
room that has all these pianos in that, and there's supposedly this woman that's very possessive and doesn't like people going in there, and the room's heavy when you walk in there and that. But I was in there and it was like we were getting all kinds of flashing lights and stuff. And I was like, ma'am, I realized because I could totally visualize probably what she was like, like, ma'am, I know I'm probably the worst thing you want to see in here because I look like the type of person that's going to touch everything and, move things around. And I said, I will not. I'm just coming here to set up this device. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to leave you to your thing. If you want to show yourself, that's great. We'd love to have a conversation if you're not up for that. I said, but the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go away, at least not for a while. So just tolerate me. So,
Well, yeah. Think about how would you feel if you were at your house and somebody come
exactly.
walk into your house and you know using your bathroom and putting devices everywhere, setting cameras up. You're like, what the hell's going on here? It's like
I feel
yeah. We were at the Monroe House, and I've got touched a few times. Once at the old Blackford County Jail, I got poked in my tricep, and then I got my shirt pulled at the Griffin Blind Tiger. But we were at the Monroe house one time. We were in the basement, and we Sean was sitting by the stairs, and we were asking, "Hey, are you okay with us being here?" And we started doing EVP sessions, blah blah blah, asking questions. And next thing you know, Sean's like, "Hey man, do me a favor, shine your light over here real quick." So I picked up my flashlight and shined the light over toward him, and he had this cut, this like big scrape, almost the entirety of his forearm. I mean, it was just red, it was welted. And I said, man, Sean, I said, man, I just felt I picked up my arm, started burning, so I wanted you to kind of flash the light and see what it was. I mean, like I said, it was like weight on his forearm. And so I said, hey, Sean, put that millimeter over against it, over next to it. And it was baseline 0, and he went and put the millimeter right up next to his arm, spiked up to a 0.5, 0.6, slowly pulled it away and went back down to 0. Did the same thing, 0.5, 0.6, pulled it away. I said, Sean, go over here. So he moved over to a different spot, did it again, 0.5, 0.6. The next thing you know, he gets up and he starts like staggering. He said, man, I feel like I'm about to pass out, man. And so we had to take him upstairs and put him out on the patio so he could get some fresh air. And then going through the audio when we got home during that very same time, you heard Sean go, "Do you want us? Do you mind us being here?" You heard his voice said, "No, get out." And I'm going,
Wow.
and I thought right then I was like, man, they think still they think it's still their stomping grounds, although it's not anymore. But in their eyes and their reality, they might still be living in that reality that is still their
Yeah, you
house.
might be the ghost to them. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
never,
Yeah.
I thought about that. Maybe for instance, Eden Springs Park. This is something else. We were up at Eden Springs Park in the Yellow Cottage, and I said, "Let me ask you a question. If you're here, and you're speaking to me and you're seeing me, if you can hear me and see me, where are you speaking to me from? And and can you hear me and see me?" And obviously, I didn't hear anything live. So, and when I was going through the audio, it said a voice came across, said, "So what are you doing?" I said, "What are you doing here? What are you doing?" It said to document you. It was documenting me. So first thing I thought was, okay, what if I'm being investigated? What if I'm the
Yeah.
spirit
What if this is
to
all? This
them?
isn't ghosts. This is alternate realities, and you're being investigated by an alternate realities version of a ghost hunter.
And then think about when we hear these spirits, and you don't hear them all the time. So it's like maybe it's the same thing with them. You know, they when they come through on our devices, it's when our little timelines cross,
Yeah.
and they're catching the same. They're catching our voices, snippets of our voices. You know, and it just blows my mind, dude, to document you. So it makes me think that they're actually documenting me while I'm documenting them,
Yeah.
and it's just a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah. In some alternate reality, there's an EVP of Phil Gibson saying something, and they're using that as some kind of compelling evidence on some site somewhere in their world, and people are going, "Oh, that's bullshit."
ah, you're just hearing things. That's just
Oh, there's this guy. He says he's still here.
paranoia. Yeah,
That's funny.
I
But I
mean,
mean, yeah, I mean, who knows, man? There's so many theories out there, and you go back 100 years or more, and all this shit would have been considered witchcraft and things like that. So yeah,
exactly.
I mean, science and magic, right? But no, that's cool. Um,
Is some very interesting stuff. It's definitely a very interesting field we're in. Um, we'll probably never know the answers, and
well, I
which is
think
fine with me.
yeah, I think anytime you combine something like this where it's got a lot of spiritual and religious elements potentially, and science, that there's always going to be, um, there's always going to be that overlap, and a lot of it's faith based. It's very much like a religion because you have some people that are very, um, I believe that everything that looks like dust is a spirit. You know what I mean? But you get some that are very much or what they see, and they're convinced, and I believe that they saw what they saw. but you know how the human mind, the way it works and stuff, it can trick you. Um,
Hmm.
and it's just like, yeah, I mean, it can be kind of like religion, where people are like, I go on faith that this is the way these things operate, even though there's maybe not a lot of evidence to suggest it's a lot of it's that way. That's why,
It is really subjective. There's a lot of
yeah.
subjectivity to in this field. It is subjective mostly. I mean, almost all of it is
I mean, the
because
fact that a lot of it's based on, some of the main gear that we all use in our toolbox is, like you said, a broken radio. You know, who knows if that's really doing anything or not. But I think if there's people that subscribe to the fact that it doesn't matter if a spirit can manifest or like, use energy. It doesn't matter where that comes from, whether it's a radio, a light, something. It's like if you think of it on this, the everything's an energy, positive, negative, and there's not, you know, good and bad, so to speak. And you start thinking of it that way, it starts getting really interesting, because different people have different energies, or different amounts and things like that, and you start looking at it from that. But again, it's all there's it's crazy. It's a wild west. It really
which
is.
makes which brings us to the point, with the whole why they say it children, you know they claim that children um, pick up on spirits a lot more than adults do, and most people attribute that to they're innocent. They don't they're not polluted with the world's problems, and
Yeah,
their minds are
we're
open
still
more.
open. Yeah.
So, but I look at it from a different way. Most children are just like balls of energy.
Hmm.
They're just like zigzagging around, jumping off of couches. They're running up and down they're playing. They're full of energy. So if they're full of energy, what makes why can't why couldn't it be that children are releasing that energy too? That these spirits are gathering, that they're soaking up that energy that these kids are filled with, and which could be a reason why children see these spirits for, because when the spirits are around these children, they're soaking up that energy, which allows them to manifest.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's what I thought about, and as we get older, we lose our energy, and we're just moping around. We're
I know
tired,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And But kids are balls of energy, and they, if they're balls of energy, they must be releasing some of that energy, that aura, out into the atmosphere, and these spirits probably pick up on it, and it allows them to possibly manifest and be seen by these kids. I mean, it's just not a fact, not anything factual, just
Well, that's
a
the thing, right?
opinion.
There's literally nothing in this field or
Hmm.
genre, however you want to look at
Genre.
it. Oh yeah, I was thinking about that YouTube video you sent me. That was very compelling.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like, it was harsh, but it made sense. I mean, it was like, because I'm guilty of some of that stuff too. Um,
yeah.
but where was I going with my topic? I just lost my train of thought. Lordy, see, it was gonna be
It was
earth shattering, but yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is there's nothing,
factual.
there's no factual to even base this on.
Yeah,
Like you can't even say, well, EMF and yeah, okay, there can be energy spikes, but we don't have there's it's all biased. It's all subjective, and I
yeah.
don't know if it's ever going to be any different than that. I mean, I don't.
All yeah, yeah. Although
Not,
I mean,
what makes it even worse too is the fact that I could go into a place and I could record the best EVPs, the best video, but Phil Gibson, if you're not there, there's always going to be a little bit of skepticism, because you're like, I don't think Scott probably doctored this stuff, but I'm not sure, maybe he didn't see something that was the car lights reflecting, or what I mean, stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
How do we know
it,
that so and so wasn't talking at the time? I
it,
wasn't there, so
it's kind of like, not to get religious, but I've told, I guess I will for a second, but like I told Jenna, I said, some people, the whole Jesus returning and stuff, it's like Jesus could drop down in the middle of the Super Bowl and manifest and be like, my people, I have returned. And there would be people would say, that's the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life. That's bullshit. I
It's
mean,
hologram.
so, so, so I mean, that's the thing. It's just really tough to have any kind of evidence that, because I mean, like experiments, usually you go through a set of controls and you get the same
Mhm.
results, and you're able to kind of go through that. But with this kind of stuff, you really don't.
You
Um,
can't, because I mean you can't take a ghost and put it in a room and study it,
and
and you can't.
I'd even argue that if you go into the same room and every time you go in the same room you get the same results, that's probably not a spirit. That's probably something else going on. you know,
I mean,
because
it's true. I mean, and plus, modern day science,
yeah,
don't really want to give the time of day to the paranormal anyway. So it's like, I got a buddy that's science. He's an atheist. He's a really hardcore, very hardcore debunker, skeptic, and he anything I put out there, he's just like, no, no, it's not real. But see, he already has his mind closed because he's an atheist,
right,
and
yeah,
most people believe that, in which I don't subscribe to this at all, but most people that say that if you believe in ghosts, and you must believe in an afterlife, you must believe in God. I'm like, no, that's not really. You don't really have to believe in that. I mean, it's not necessarily the biblical God or the Christian faith or whatever. Um, I don't subscribe to the fact that just because there's spirits out there doesn't mean that there's a heaven or hell. I mean, I don't subscribe to that. But he's completely closed off. In his eyes, if that there's nothing after this, it's done. There's nothing once you pass on. You become worm food.
humans were just
And
a chemical accident, like a
yeah,
bunch of just a coincidence, a chemical accident, and started it all kind of thing. I got you. Yeah.
and he's he by him just making that claim that no, there's once we're dead, there's nothing else. We don't move on. We don't haunt places. We don't he pretty much closed his mind off right there. So you can't really talk to those people. You can't really you can
Right.
take them on an investigation. They'll experience something. They'll be like, no, it was just my mind playing tricks on me. Although when I confronted him about a story that his friend told me about one time when they were younger, skateboarding, came home to my buddy Brian's house, and my buddy Bryce was the first person to walk in the house, and he said, "Brian, what the hell's your brother doing up there? It's 2 a.m." He said, "My brother's asleep." He said, "No, he's not. I just saw something running down the hallway." So they went back, and he said, "I saw him dip into your room." So he went into that room. There was nobody in there. They looked under the beds, everything. There was nobody in there.
Hmm.
So, and I confronted him about that. He's like, "Oh, no, it was just we were no, I didn't see anything." I'm like, "That's not what he told me." He said, "You were the first person to see it." So
Well, you got that. You've got the skeptics that are diehard skeptics that you're never going to change, and then you got the other end of the spectrum that everything is a ghost. So it's like you kind of I ride in the middle. I mean, I don't usually try to. The first thing is oh, this is a ghost, and that Jenna's probably a little bit more with her being more on the spiritual and being more kind of um, psychic and that kind of stuff. I think she giggles at me and she goes, "You're so cute sometimes." The fact that you don't see what I see and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, and I've told her, I said, I'm convinced you see what you think you see. Now, whether it's really there or not, I don't know.
but see,
because I'm
you're not close minded though. So
right,
that's
and that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not sitting there going, "That's bullshit. That's bullshit." I mean, I may
there's
joke with her
there's no way that's
sometimes.
possible. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, I may joke with her sometimes and be like, "Really? Come on now. Let's rein that in, and then we'll go through the process." And then a lot of times she'll be like, "See," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, all right, that's pretty
but see
wild." Or sometimes she'll be like, "Yeah, you're right. That was this." Yeah.
exactly. All I know is that there is something answering my questions. If you want to call intelligently or interactively, I don't, whatever word you want to use. There's something answering my questions, direct answers, and there's something that's um, communicating with us when the ear can't hear it. And it's like, that's strange because I've had so many direct responses. I mean, probably hundreds of direct responses to my questions. And I let Sean hear. Can you hear that? He said, "Oh, I hear it plain as day." And I can tell exactly what it says. Here, tell me what it says. Okay, this is what it sounds like. That's what I got to. So it's like there's something going on. Whether it's all spirits or if it's us communicating with an alternate dimension, an alternate reality or something we don't know. I mean, all I know is the claim is that there's spirits all around us all the time. They're everywhere, and so you could probably walk into any place and if you do an EVP session, you're bound to get. I think there's an activity everywhere you go. I think you can probably catch an EVP in almost any place you go. Is the place haunted? Probably not. But I think we're like also. This is my opinion. I think we're like beacons to the spirit world. Like they see us opening up an avenue, opening up a door to communicate, and they're going, "Hey, hey, look, look, look!
Yeah.
There's somebody trying to communicate with us. Let's try to communicate." And this is just an opinion of mine, but I think that we're like beacons, and they see that door opening up. They're like, "Hey, here's our chance to get in touch with the earth, the real world, the world we used to be a part of."
No, I
Or
agree. I mean, I think different people have, can draw it out. I think some buildings or locations maybe are like a battery for whatever
yeah,
reason. Maybe the what they're made out of, maybe whatever is stored energy, or attracts it. To your point, maybe it's not that things are trapped within this place, but it just it's a natural beacon. To your point,
hmm
people subscribe, oh, different water waves coming together and limestone and stuff like that. Maybe there's something to all that. They're conductive and things like that. When you think of it from an energy perspective, um, yeah, you know, I don't know how much the whole, people dying traumatically and that's what keeps them there and things like that. I don't know. I mean, that's possible too, right? I mean, if we're
I,
if the core of us is energy, energy can't be destroyed. It's got to go somewhere. Um,
yeah.
I don't know.
And if you think about it, um, and this is just a out there thought, everywhere we go, we leave energy. We leave a piece of our energy. Our skin cells, we shed skin all the time. I don't know if the dead skin could trap energy. I don't know if that's possible or not. If that's part of us still, we're there's skin cells everywhere. Are we shed skin? We have happy moments in all these different places, and I wonder if that part of us is everywhere. It's like we're leaving parts of our being in all these different places,
Well, if you
and
think about cells, man, it's like you can basically with the right technology, and maybe it doesn't exist yet, or it does. Not to get conspiracy theory, but with one skin cell, we can reduce us all day long. So our entire being, if you will, can be in one cell, kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and I like what Austin. I was talking to Austin one day, and he was like, "Well, actually, it was. I think it was back and forth, it was during a message or something like that, or he was commenting on a status of mine or something like that, and he says, man, most of the places that I've been to haven't experienced some of the most haunted places I've been to. There's no deaths that have been documented in those places. So and they're some of the most haunted places I've been. So it's either, maybe, everybody going to these locations and, opening up those pathways to, communication with the spirit world might have created a haunting,
Right. Yeah, they've
or
left their own energy behind, and it's kind of built a pool or something. Yeah.
that, or they see, they know that people are constantly there all the time trying to communicate. So it's like an automatic, say, oh, hey, and they know it's like feeding a raccoon. You're throwing food out, and the
Yeah. Yeah.
raccoon
It's
eats it,
a
and
hot spot.
you keep throwing the food out there for them. They keep coming back.
Yeah.
Could it be that way to the spirit world too? They see these houses. People are constantly going to these new houses and investigating, and they keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. Eventually, you create a haunting. They're always going to come back because they're expecting that communication to happen there. So I mean, it's something to think about. I mean, um,
It's no
and I think.
crazier than some of the other theories that have been thrown around. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
there's all kinds of things going on. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I just know that like 99% of the time, it's a lot of sitting in the dark. Um, but it's that 1%, man, that keeps you coming back. That's what I've always said. It's like A lot of people are like, really? You want to go to these cold places and do that? I'm like, no, that's part of it. I love the history of some of the buildings too. I'm
Mm-hmm.
architecture guy, so it's like, so if I can go into a place where I'm like, oh, this was an old building and here's the history behind it, and kind of go in and look at the woodwork and stuff, I love that just from like a carpentry and craftsmanship type of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing the stories in that, but yeah, the ghost hunting part of it is like the bonus part, because then it's like, oh, maybe we can somehow tap into what was going on there and kind of be a part of that. It's really cool. But
I mean, you ever had the I call it the paranormal blues, where you just feel like the fire's not there. You're like, man, I just don't feel like it. The fire's like kind of like dwindling down, and that enthusiasm's gone. And then, damn, then you're like, all right, I'll go we'll go to this investigation, or we'll go to a graveyard or something like that, and
yeah,
and you're trying to get your enthusiasm back up, and then you go home and go through your evidence. You catch that one EVP that's just so clear, and you're like, next thing you know, it just fills you up, man, with that enthusiasm again. You're ready to go. That's happened to
and
me before.
that's Jenna for me, because it's like I said, man, I'm really bad about not going back through my evidence. If it's not something I obviously catch right away, but
Hmm.
she'll go back through that stuff, and then suddenly she'll be like, holy shit, look what I caught here. One of the earlier things we did was we went to Savannah, Georgia, and went to the Sorrel Weed House. I think it was. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Savannah,
cool.
Georgia,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
did a ghost hunt there. And there was like 6 people in this hunt. It was more like a public tour with a little bit of a ghost hunt, and we were pretty
Hmm.
new to it. I don't think we even brought our own gear. They had a couple EMF detectors, but we were just walking the house getting history. And so we were snapping pictures and everything else, and she's telling the story, and didn't think too much about it. And then got home. She's looking through the pictures. She's like, "Holy shit!" I have to have her find this picture to show you. And there's a picture of fireplace, this mirror, and you can account everybody's reflection that was at that party. And
Hmm.
there's this one girl who looks very out of place with black hair and these soulless eyes, like sitting, in the picture. And it's like, where the hell did
Wow.
that come from? It's like, that's not a reflection of anybody else, because everybody else was accountable. You could see them in that mirror. It's like the way we're
That's
standing. And it's like, alrighty, what the hell was that?
okay. Yeah, what was that, dude?
That was one of the earlier ones, and it's like, okay, yeah, let's start. Some people go on vacations to the beach and stuff like that, and it's like, now let's go to haunted houses for our vacations and see what we can do
Yeah,
there. That's
I,
really
would- I,
kind
would-
of
I would
where.
I would rather do that. if instead of saying, "Hey, let's go to the Bahamas," well, my
I mean,
girlfriend
go to the
goes, "Hey,
Bahamas and find you a haunted place. Go
yeah,
go to another country and check out their haunted cultures, man. Because the U.S. is so young. It's like I spent 3 weeks over in India. Now I didn't go there to ghost hunt, but can you imagine going into a culture like India and trying doing some ghost hunts over there? I mean, you got a whole different philosophical and religious background. So many people. I mean, there's just that would be crazy
and it's
because
probably a lot of spirits that are
I saw
starving to
enough
communicate with us."
I saw enough crazy stuff that was living over there in the 3 weeks that I was there. So yeah, but yeah, like even going to like Great Britain and stuff like that, I've always thought it'd be cool to travel some of the other countries to see what you pick up. You might have
I would
trouble
love
understanding it, but yeah,
Ireland. I would love to go to
yeah,
Ireland and
yeah,
like
yeah,
investigate the old castles and stuff over
yeah,
there. That
yeah.
would be amazing.
I mean, all the where the battles happened and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard not to think that something wasn't left behind with all that tragedy and bloodshed and things like that. Um,
Yeah, that's why I would love to go to Vlad's Castle. And of all the places in the world, I think Vlad's Castle would be the one that I would, if I could actually stay overnight and do an investigation with, no guided tours, I would. That would be like like my bucket list at the top.
yeah, that would be
Uh,
cool.
yeah, and then being from West Virginia, I think Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum would be another place I'd love to go to. St. Augustine Lighthouse would be another place I'd love to go. Obviously, because it has a big influence on why I do what I do today. Also, I mean, Waverly Hills would be something else I like to do. The thing about Waverly Hills, man, it's very expensive, and I just don't want to take 15, 20 people with me. I want to take my team of four
I, I,
people
I will
and
tell you
go
that
in
place
there.
is so big. You
Yeah,
take
I know.
15, 20 people,
You'll never
it's
see
not
it the
going to
rest of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went on a public tour early on, and I want to say there were 60 people on that tour, and I got up on the third floor, and I was by myself, and literally one of the few times that I'm walking down this hallway, and it just got so deathly quiet,
Mm.
and it was like 30 something degrees, and I'm walking along because I had to get from one point to the other where Jenna was, and I'm just like, yeah, that's a biggie, and I'm walking along, I'm like, yep, it's dark, and I don't hear anything except my own heart beating, and it's really got in my head, and I'm like, wait a minute, where
Wow.
are all these people at? But yeah, I mean,
It's
I
a big place. It is. It's
yeah, it
huge.
really is. But you're right, it is expensive. I mean, it's kind of um, when we went down into the chute where they talk
Oh, the
about
dead
they used to.
dude.
And what was cool about it is that they're like, who wants to go down and shoot? And I'm like, me, I'll go, because I'm that guy. It's like I'd rather do that than admit that I'm scared, kind of thing. And so Jenna's like, okay, I'm gonna stay at the top here, and she had um, an Ovilus, I think, or somebody had an Ovilus there, and we're going and going, and it popped up and it said Regina on it. That's her real name. Like, she goes by Jenna, but her name is
Interesting.
Regina. And it was like, that's come up before in some of the ghost box, which is kind of cool because she normally doesn't mention that's her name.
Yeah.
She goes by Jenna, and that's not, that's kind of an older style name. It's not something you would expect to hear on a ghost box. It's like
Hmm.
single syllable names sometimes, like Scott. That's not that popular, but again, it comes across fast.
Hmm.
It could be something else, but yeah, she's like, yeah, I was going down. It was me and three other people. We walked down this tunnel. It's like a quarter mile long,
Hmm.
and dude, EMFs are going off. It was getting really weird down in there to the point you look back and there's like this little pinhole of light, and you realize that was a tunnel you started at the top where they're shining their lights down at you.
And
And
then
it's like,
knowing if something comes after you, you got to run
yeah, Jenna's
all the
like,
way
did you
back
guys
up there.
not hear that? I'm like, what are you saying? She goes, our EMF boxes and these things were going off left and right, saying all this stuff, and you didn't hear any of that. I'm like, nope, just walking through this tunnel like it was nothing. I'd like to go back though, but you're right. It's pricey, but it would
I
definitely be
would.
something you'd have to put a full kind of adventure together for that.
It's like
Um,
I would like to take my crew down there and have and I know the only problem is you don't with four people, even for as long as you get to investigate, you probably would never make it through the whole place.
there's no way.
So I factor all those things in. Like I want to investigate the whole building. I know there's no way I'd be able to investigate the whole building in one night. And if I'm paying that kind of money, I want to experience everything, and that's why I love the smaller locations because with a four-person team, even sometimes we only bring two. You can investigate those places and eliminate a lot of the noise pollution and
Right,
uh,
right.
so I'm big on EVPs. I'm a big EVP guy. So, and if there's one thing that really irritates me is people talking when I'm doing EVP sessions. Sorry,
That's
Scott.
Jenna's
But
like, I feel you, Phil. I feel you.
is she listening in? Is she watching?
I'm sure she is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because she's
So
like, so many times she'll be like, "Damn it, Scott, why?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm just walking. Like, sometimes my legs get tired and I just move, and of course, I'm standing on the squeakiest board, and it's it's like, really, that's Scott making noise.
yep. Scott's walking,
Yeah,
just tagging
I'm
that
just not
audio.
designed to sit still. I'm kind of one of those type of people. So it's like, all right, you go do your EVPs. I'm going to go wander on the other side of the building and see what I can come up with.
And that's one thing. That's one of the reasons I don't like doing public investigations. I mean, if I'm doing a public investigation to like help, a place out or something like that, hey, I go with the mindset that hey, I'm not catching, I'm not
Yeah,
here to catch evidence tonight. I'm here to give people an experience, and
right,
maybe one day that public experience might encourage them to go out and do their own investigations and learn. Teach them, the with the all the different instruments and all the different devices. But if
right,
I'm
right.
like we do a public event up at Eden Springs, I help with the Eden Springs Pier Camp Out. Our team does, and we do that, and Adam Weislick helps out, Dan and Rebecca Smuck, they help out up there and stuff like that. And so we go up in there with the mindset that we're just, we're giving these people an experience,
Hmm.
and and you got to explain to them, hey, you try to teach them the ways to do it, to be, tag stuff when somebody talks, and make sure you don't whisper, and and teach them how the devices work and stuff like that. And so if I keep that mindset, doing these public investigations, then I'm cool. But if it's just a public investigation where we're expecting to, just to get evidence, I don't know. I'm too much of an evidence guy that I don't know. I have a hard time doing public investigations because of all the noise, and I feel like it's kind of a waste of time sometimes. But
Well, if you're going for evidence, that's definitely it.
but I enjoy help. I enjoy like doing stuff to help places out, because
Yeah.
I love Eden Springs Park. It's a really if you guys need to come up there sometimes with us, or when you get a chance, come up here with us one time to the park and do an investigation. There's a lot of outdoor investigation, a lot of
Cool.
outdoor places, but it is so active. A lot of woods, like out in the woods, man. We've got some just amazing evidence out there, EVPs and just crazy fluctuations on the
Yeah.
the millimeters and stuff, and in the middle of nowhere, and then drunk tanks.
Was there ever like a village or anything in these woods, or is it just all natural? Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
community. It used to be a community, like a sect,
Okay.
House of David.
Okay.
Um,
I got you.
so, and they used to have their own, pretty much their own. It was their own like little community. They
Okay.
had, they had bowling alleys, they had restaurants, they grew their own food. They pretty much just all stuck together. Al Capone used to come up there and watch baseball games and stuff like that. And man, it's such a cool part that Debbie and Jeff, the volunteers, are awesome people. They've always been like really welcoming, and they always make us feel at home. And not only do you get to experience the cool people up there, the volunteers, but you experience the park itself. It's just um, it's such an active place, and we've got some great evidence up there, and it's just beautiful just walk around, just to kind of soak in that, the atmosphere and stuff. So yeah, maybe one of these days, and you and Jenna can make a trip up here, and
Oh,
we'll.
absolutely.
There is an event coming up there. Hopefully this year, if COVID doesn't ruin it. But there's an event coming up. Two of the Wraith Chasers are going to be up there. Mike and Chris are going to be up
Okay.
there for an event. And Rebecca and friends of ours, Rebecca and Dan Smuck, they're actually putting it on at Eden Springs. If ever they're still piecing stuff together with the with Debbie and stuff like that. But that's in the plans for, I believe it's July. I think it's early June. I think it is early June, or yeah, I think it's early June. So I mean, as he's still working things out, but once he gets those things worked out, I'm gonna start posting stuff, and
Okay.
he's gonna
Yeah.
start posting stuff, and maybe it's time we can all get together, man, and hang out. So a whole weekend. It's gonna be a whole weekend thing.
Oh,
So
that'd be cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. That sounds like a good time.
okay,
Yeah. I think I've told you before. I want to get out west. I've done a lot of the Midwest. Right now, Jenna really wants to go to New England.
okay.
So we're gonna try to get up to New England. I don't know if it's gonna
Well,
happen
that
this
would be
year.
awesome.
Um, and then I'd like to get out west. Some of the more Native American type stuff, and some of the
All
more
ghost
open.
towns and
Yeah. I think that would be cool. So I don't know. I've built up a lot of vacation time from last year that I couldn't use, and I'm carried over. So I'm hoping we can use some of that this year to go off and do some of the stuff. Our
yeah,
quarantines and all that shut down, and COVID gets us back to normal, or whatever normal is at this point.
yeah. We probably forgot about it. We probably forgot what normal is anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
But our teammate Debbie, or our teammate Lisa, she went out west last year, or not last year, but the year before last, and they investigated the Washoe Club and Goldfield Hotel
Okay. Yeah.
was, and she said that was
Okay.
pretty wild. Yeah,
That'd be
she
cool.
said she didn't get a whole lot of experience at the Washoe Club, but the Goldfield was pretty active.
Hmm.
So, and they went to Tonopah. They did the Clown Hotel and all that stuff. Like
Oh
they
yeah,
Clown
that's
Hotel
another
and
thing.
stuff like
I do not dig clowns, but I would totally go there. Not for any paranormal reasons, just like
yeah,
creepy.
I
Just
hate
creepy.
clowns. They're
Yeah.
creepy. Yeah.
guys or guys and girls hiding behind masks that are smiling, but deep down they're not.
Yeah.
People are like, "But you like the band Kiss?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?"
Yeah, but they were
I
feeding
get
us with
proud of
good
all.
music, man.
Yeah, but those clowns spit blood and fire. That's cool.
Yeah. Except at New Year's, they had to take away the blood spitting at New Year's for the New Year's party. But
Oh, really? I
they,
didn't even.
yeah,
Dude,
they didn't.
I grew up on Kiss and probably one of my favorite bands, but after like the fourth or fifth, hey, we're going away. This is our final tour. Um, I kind of said, you know what? I'm done.
Bullshit.
I've seen him
Yeah,
enough. I've seen him more times than probably any other band. And some of the cover bands that do them better than themselves, I'd rather go see them now. So
yeah. I saw Kiss twice. Back when they did the live worldwide, or when they put their makeup back on,
yeah,
and they
okay,
back in like '96 or '97. I saw them
yeah,
once in
96,
Indy. I saw them in
yeah,
Indy at Conseco Fieldhouse, and then they came back through again about 2 months later. And I convinced my buddy to go because I was like, "Man, dude, Alice in Chains is gonna be opening up for him, man. We got to
that'd be
go, man." And this is with Lane Stanley. Well, ended up Lane Stanley went into rehab and eventually died.
yeah,
But yeah, he was like, "Oh man, the only reason why I came was because of Alice, because of Alice in Chains. But he enjoyed the show. But
Oh, they put on a
yeah,
hell of a show, but
oh man, they were awesome live,
it's
man.
like once you see the show, it doesn't change much. I
No,
mean, even like the comedy bits and things where Paul yells out at the crowd, it's like boom, insert the
it's a,
town name. Hey Cincinnati, hey Elkhart, how you doing? It's like it's the same stuff. It's like after a while you're just like, God, I love you
yeah,
guys, but man, it's not like you don't have the money. Just let's call it. Let's just
yeah.
go away. But yeah,
It's like I saw Pantera. I've seen Pantera more than I've probably well, I've seen Deftones probably more than I have anybody, but Pantera was probably the second. I've seen Pantera like 7, 8 times,
okay.
and that was awesome. I saw them back first time in like '91. They opened up for Skid Row,
Oh
and
no shit.
Skid Row's one. I love Skid Row
Yeah, oh
actually.
yeah, yeah. They were a great band.
And by the end of that tour, Pantera was the headliner, and that was it. Then they took the baton away from Metallica and just like ran through the '90s or through the late '90s and early 2000s, mid late '90s into the 2000s with the metal baton. My
One of my
opinion.
one of my first metal shows I got to see was Metallica opening for Ozzy, and Cliff Burton was still with them.
So that must have
So
been
it was Masters of Puppets
must have been
tour.
the Ultimate Sin tour when
Yes,
Ozzy was. Yep.
yeah, yeah, with Jakey Lee, and
Fuck, dude, you saw Cliff Burton, dude.
I
That's so
know
cool.
one of the reasons I'm a bass player, man. I was like went there and I was still kind of new to Metallica at the time. A buddy of mine had come down. I was still listening to like Motley Crue and Twisted Sister and all that stuff, and he came down the hallway at school with his little Sony Walkman and was like, "Hey man, listen to this." Put it in. I'm pretty sure it was the song "Masters of Puppets," and I'm like, "What is this?" And I must have more. And and that just kind of switched it from that day. And then it was like
They were my
for
favorite
Metallica,
band growing up.
Anthrax,
Yeah.
and all that. It was like Megadeth and everything. Kind of went down that path. But
Metallica was my favorite. They were my favorite band. Well, it started off as Poison being my favorite band
yeah, I
when I
had.
was young, and that was my first concert
Do you
actually.
have a
Poison.
Bengals collection that you for if you're a Poison fan, you used to wear all the bracelets and that stuff?
I wore the ripped up pants and the
Dude,
bandanas around my legs, and
I was in 80s tribute band probably 8 years ago where we wore spandex. I didn't have a beard. Um, we wore wigs. Kind of did like the whole Steel Panther thing.
oh, great, man.
And we did it. We were called Devil's Due, and the joke was we all grew up through that, and we loved playing that music. And when we first went out and played, we didn't dress up. We literally looked like we just got off work. And people were like, "You guys nail it. You sound just like those guys." Our singer could hit all the highs and everything. And
Yeah,
they're like, "But you guys look like you're just a bunch of mechanics that just got off work." And so I went out and bought a wig and sent pictures. And the one guitar player is like, "I ain't doing this shit. That's bullshit. People are gonna laugh at us. They're gonna think we're a joke. It's gonna." I'm like, "No, man. They're gonna love it." And we all came up with our little identities and had outfits and stuff. And it's like,
so
got
cool.
out there and no sooner did we do it, man. It was like people just forgot who you were, and it was awesome because we'd show up at the shows and we had shirts on that said "Crew" on the back. We're not in our costumes or anything, and we're setting gear up I had people going up going, "Hey man, um, what time's the band starting? Do you know the bass player?" And I'm like, "Well, you know those motherfuckers. I'm like, they're probably back there partying." Um, I said, "That bass player is the worst, man. He's just a total ass." I said, "So I apologize ahead of time. I got to deal with him all the time." Literally, the
Let
end
him
of the
have it.
night,
Let him
and then,
have it when he gets on stage.
and then at the end of the night, I'd be in the full outfit, with I'd have the long hair and everything, and the same people would come. Now, granted, they're definitely drunk at that point. Have a conversation and be totally oblivious. I was the same guy. So it was a blast. Did that for about 4 or 5 years, and yeah, it was funny, man. Because like 5 minutes into it, you forget that well, I'm looking at some middle aged chubby guys in spandex, and even the women that came out to the shows forgot their age, and it was
Yeah, take it off. Come on.
that's happened. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of shows, but my first concert was Poison. Brittany
Yeah.
Fox. Back in
Oh yeah,
'88,
wow.
'89. So like open up Seattle, and
I
uh,
saw I saw Kiss was at '84 on Animalized tour with Wasp
cool.
opening for them. And that was one of those seeing Blackie Lawless, who played bass at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and he switched to guitar, came out with a cod piece on that shot fireworks out of it, and I was
Wow.
like, these guys are badass. And then Kiss came on, but it was the Animalized version of Kiss, so it was the glam version of Kiss, but it was still cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was cool.
yeah. But yeah,
David Lee
yeah.
Roth. I saw the 51 Van Halen 5150 tour, which was badass. But I'm telling you, David Lee Roth solo with Vi and Sheehan blew that up. I love Sammy Hagar, but to me, Roth was always he was always. If I had to pick the era of Van Halen, and when Roth
Yes,
Roth did his solo with stuff with Steve Vai and Sheehan when he came out with Eat 'Em and Smile, man, that tour was the tour to see. But yeah,
I think Van Halen as with Roth. I like the music with David Lee Roth better. Van Halen's music with Roth, but I think Sammy Hagar was a better vocalist than.
oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Uh,
Roth was an
but
entertainer.
I like David Lee Roth's uh, Van Halen better than I did. You
Yeah,
know,
Roth was a showman, and he was an
yeah.
entertainer more than a singer. Where Sammy was a musician and was a great singer. But yeah, that was. I mean, I missed. Now you got me thinking about all the concerts I missed this year. I was thinking the band I probably seen the most recently is Foo Fighters, and of course they
Okay.
canceled their tour. I had all their
Yeah.
tickets and was ready to go see them again, and just like,
I think last concert I went to was it last year or the year before? It was I went and seen Striper.
oh, okay.
And dude, and and I'm
I
not a
like
Christian,
Striper.
but I'm not a Christian, but I'll tell you what, they rock, man.
Yeah,
I've always been a Striper fan. I kind of just pushed the lyrical content off to the side
yeah,
and just listen to them jam, dude, and they still kick ass, man. And I grew up listening to Striper, and I love their music. And I think it was the last concert I went to. They came actually to Elkhart in town here, so which was really cool. But then I've seen Fear Factory recently before that with Hate Eternal and um, let me see who else I saw in this moment and Motionless in White and I'm trying to think of some of the metal bands. Fear Factory, which one of my favorite bands live was Fear Factory. Megadeth was one of the best bands I've ever seen live as well, as far as the sound.
yeah.
Um,
That's one of Jenna's favorite. I'm more of a Metallica guy, and she's more of a Megadeth person. But
I like them both. I mean, Megadeth. Dude, I saw them with it was Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer at
mm,
and I saw Megadeth and Korn and Fear Factory and Flotsam and Jetsam back in the '90s. That was really cool. But when I seen them with Slayer and Anthrax, dude, that was cool because it was that Big Four when the Big Four thing was going
yeah,
on and Metallica ran out and then they continued to tour. Metallica did their own thing. That was the first time I ever seen Slayer, which I was pretty cool. That's all four original members. Lombardo was drumming for him, and and there was Kerry King and Henneman, and they all four original members were there, so that was kind of cool. And Brian, eventually Henneman died, and Lombardo left the band, and now they got the Gary Holt from Exodus, and so yeah, it's cool. I've seen Pantera a lot, White Zombie, and uh, I've seen a lot of concerts over the years, man. But,
I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I didn't see too much last year. Like I said, most of the stuff I had tickets for got canceled or
yeah, yeah.
rescheduled. I saw some local bands, some of my buddies, stuff like that, some things like that. But yeah. Hopefully this year maybe we'll get some more. I'm kind of missing my
Hopefully,
live music. I'm
yeah.
missing.
A lot of people are.
I had a lot of buddies that's kind of how they earned a living, so that this year's definitely hurt them a lot. Um, you know,
Yeah.
even the whole bar scene, a lot of people in the bar service industries and stuff like that. But well, man, I know. Let's see, we're coming up on an hour and 40. Jeez.
40 minutes. But only, but hey, but an hour, probably 15 hour and 20 minutes was probably all paranormal. So hey, we did
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good.
well, yeah, you know,
I knew music was going to come up eventually. So
yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of wide open. They can hear
got
about
my
parent. Yeah,
special.
exactly. They can hear about paranormal anytime. We got
Oh,
this is getting to know us. What makes us tick, and this is like
exactly.
the B footage, the
Yeah,
gag reel or whatever.
yeah.
Bring some of the,
I'm not sporting anything Hart City Paranormal tonight. It's all about the music tonight, man.
oh yeah, look at that,
We'll
man.
talk the paranormal too, but
Me, I'm a
uh,
walking billboard, but hey,
yeah, but
yeah,
uh,
that's funny.
yeah.
Well, man,
So
it's been a blast. We should do this. We'll definitely do this again. Like I said, this is the first one I did. I think this worked out pretty well, the format.
I think it's awesome, man. I've had a blast, man. Anytime you want me back, Scott, man, you just let me know. I'll be
We'll
on,
do
man. If
it.
I'm
And
doing
I know what Jenna wants to do.
absolutely,
She wants to start getting involved. But one of her ideas, too, is when we go on, if we like do some team ups, is to do kind
mm-hmm.
of a live feed and kind of talk about your team or whoever we're with, kind of get the history of them and all that stuff, and then do like an investigation and kind of make it more of a documentary. Not so much about the
Yeah,
location as here's the people we're with and this is what we're doing here, kind of thing. So you can kind of see the
mm,
whole camaraderie in that. So
yeah,
we'll see how the year
absolutely.
goes and get that going. She's less about being on. She's more of the. I just want to get in and do the experiments and all that stuff. She's like, I don't have time to be on camera and be on these feeds and stuff. She's probably upstairs looking at footage and stuff. I'm like, you want to be on this? She's like, no, because you'll. She goes, you just like you. I'll let you do the talking. She goes, I don't really have much to say. Like, that's not what you say behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So
I think once she gets on and starts talking about the paranormal, it'll just start rolling off her tongue,
yeah,
dude.
I think it's well in her real life job, she's on conference calls all day long. So I'm sure part of that is the fact that it's like, man, you know, I do this all day long talking to people. I need a break from this.
Yeah.
So I'm the Ronald McDonald of our team. I get to go out and be the spokesperson. Like, hey. Well, man, thank you. Once again, people that are still with us, I'm Scott with Jenna and Scott Investigate, and that's Philip Gibson with Hart City Paranormal. We're going to do these. I'm going to try to do, I'm thinking maybe once a weekly thing, but it may be more in line with, depending on what I got to going on. Like we've got an investigation. Oh, so we got an investigation. Is it the 16th? Is that a Saturday? 16th of January. We're going to Poasttown Elementary.
Yeah, that's what our investigation is too,
Yeah,
up in
yeah. So
Bristol. Yep.
we'll be at Poasttown, which is in Middletown. That's about a 40-minute drive from here. That's a fun place. We went there once
Yeah,
before.
I want to go there too. Actually,
They
I'm
they
trying.
had
I'm trying, I'm trying to get into Felt Mansion up in Saugatuck, Michigan too. That seems like a pretty cool place. I don't know if they do it. I don't know if they do investigations. I know they did something in October where they had like certain dates picked out where people could stay the night.
yeah.
But there's a few places I have in my sights, man. Um, it's just getting them. I've got one I'm working on. I got two I'm working on right now. Little small museums, which are always like teeming with activity because of all the different artifacts and stuff in there.
So do you go to these
So
places? Like, are they known for having ghost hunts, or do you kind of hit them up out of the blue and are like, hey, do you mind if we come in and do this? I mean, these places already have it established?
yeah, there's the places I'm working on now. They've had people come in there before. It's not they've had documented paranormal evidence, but it's places that aren't really well known. So I just happen to be browsing on Facebook or something like that and see that somebody did an investigation there, last year or something like that. And I call them up, hey, you guys still? Yeah, we still do it. All right, can I book one? Sure, yeah, you can book one. Um, so we got a place in two places in Ohio. Well, actually, who's Ohio? Let's see, one's in oh, what's it called? It's up near Bowling Green. Font, Fa- Fontage, Fon, Fantasia, Ohio? No, I don't know. It's a museum in Ohio. I can't remember the city. It's where the old glass. It's where the old glass factory used to be in Ohio. Uh, there used to be an old glass factory where like this a certain like popular glass that used to came out of Ohio. It's that city Fantasia or Foncasia or something like I don't know. But we're trying to work on an investigation there, and also the Charles Dugan Mansion down in Decatur, Indiana. We're going to be working on. It's the Adams County Historical Society, which is also a museum. It's a big mansion. We're working on a place there too. It's not well known places, but and I don't want to know any of the evidence. I just don't. If we go in places like that, I don't want to know anything. I want to go in like blindfolded and just see if I can
So
experience
by
things.
that you don't research like the history or anything like that at all.
Not really. I mean, if sometimes I do, but sometimes I just don't want to know anything. I just want to go in there and just, But at the same time, if you don't know the history, you can't, you might not be able to, you won't know who you're trying, who to communicate with when you're there.
I try to balance the line between knowing just enough to know like when it was built, so I can get an idea of the structure and that kind of stuff.
I do know
But,
that stuff.
but as far as like people have come in and said that so and so hung themselves, but there's no documented proof. I try to kind of tune that out and focus more on this place was used for this reason from this time frame to this time
I do
frame.
that. Yeah, But when it comes to like the documented paranormal evidence, I try not to. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear anything really. But sometimes they just include. Oh yeah, this happened. I'm like, no, don't say anything.
We got a prowler on the 4th floor. Everybody calls him Jebediah. I'm sure you'll see him. Everybody sees him.
and you don't see him.
You don't see him. Yeah, never see Jebediah. Never
Yeah.
shows up.
Oh well.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this for our inaugural run here, and we'll have to do this again as we get this. Get this going a little bit more. But yeah, I enjoy this. It's
Man, thanks a lot for having me on, man. I had a blast, man.
cool, man. We will do it again. So again, I'm Scott with Jenna and Scott Investigate. That's Phil Gibson with Hart City Paranormal. For all of you that stuck around, thanks for watching. And tally ho, we will see you. Make sure you go and follow. Yeah, how's that work? I need a green screen. Follow Phil. Follow that other guy that's to my right, to my left, maybe. Depending on what you're looking at. That guy, yeah, the guy that's pointing. Make sure and go like Hart City Paranormal.
Not this. This is not.
Yeah, I mean, you can go like Emperor. Yeah, you could definitely.
Yeah, Emperor's cool though. Emperor's
yeah,
awesome
I mean,
though.
yeah, they probably don't need the likes. They probably got enough. But I mean, you can always have more likes. But it definitely
Hart
goes.
City Paranormal. Yep.
Yeah, good for Phil some love and give them a share in that. And then yeah, cool, man. So thanks for coming on board, and I will let everybody go and get back to their night.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. See you.
See you guys.
Out.
Yep. See you.
Yep. If I can find the off button, there it is. Later. There we go.